Welcome to Sacred Fame Podcast. I'm Kasia Rachfall, energy magician and healer for intuitive leaders. Sacred Fame is the art and science of seeing and knowing and being yourself so that you can be seen, known, and paid for doing the things you love and making an impact in the world. Welcome back to Sacred Fame Podcast. My name is Kasia Rachfall. I'm so happy to be back with you after a really tumultuous, magical, joyful, shitty summer. I wonder how your summer was. I would love to hear from you. The podcast is back, and that was a decision that really not only helped me anchor that I am going to keep doing this because I have shit to say and I love to talk, but also re-anchored me into a new level of commitment into the work that I'm here to do, the business that I'm creating, growing, expanding, and the type of service that I offer. So I have lots of stories from this summer to share throughout this season. Some of them are so out of this world that I can't even begin to, I just can't even begin to understand what has been happening in the world. I feel like the level of magic has increased like infinite fold. The level of intensity has also increased infinite fold. And of course, navigating those two things, the intensity, the magic, the life stuff, it's been interesting. I'll leave it at that. It's been interesting. There's been a lot of joy, a lot of pain, a lot of shit coming up, not just for me, but for my clients. But also stepping into higher levels of like just being present, being able to create life from such a different place of presence and seeing the self, right? Seeing ourselves. And so there was a period of time where I thought, you know what? Who cares if there's another podcast? Like, who cares if I ever put out another episode? Because I really don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But my summer has ebbed and flowed in such a way that I got to this place of realizing that it takes all of us. That's a quote I heard on a podcast that I love listening to. And it landed inside me in such a deep way that I thought, well, I care. I care if I put out another episode or I don't. And so I started really digging deep around what is it that would stop me from doing it and why would I want to continue? And I decided that, just like your voice matters, your mission, your gifts, your whatever it is that you want to create matters. My voice matters too. And this is one of my favorite ways to get word out there about my work is to talk about all these things. And the interesting things about my work are that, I walk that line of esoteric, magical energy, cosmic stuff along with the science. And so I love both of them and I love talking about both of them and synthesizing both of them. So I believe that I bring a different perspective, right? I like to talk. I actually like to hear myself talk. Yes, that's true. I like to share what I know. I carry the archetype of the sacred teacher. If you study numerology, that's the ruling number 7. And I've come to believe that my perspective is valuable, just like your perspective is valuable, not from a place of arrogance, but from a place of experience. We've lived through some things. We've overcome some things. We've achieved some things, created, built, right? And so that perspective is valuable. And if it helps one person, it has been worth it. Not to mention, people keep paying me to help them. And I think that is the coolest thing because I fucking love what I do. I could do this all day long, and not take a break. I've since had to, and that's a story for another time. I got a concussion during the move that we were making into this place. So again, lots of stories about the move and all of those things, but people keep paying me for what I do and helping them reach greater self-awareness, greater presence in their own lives, greater ways of seeing themselves, being themselves, and doing the shit they love to do. And so how fucking cool is that? I love that. I'm doing something right, having your own business, having your own practice as a practitioner, as a coach, is one of the coolest and hardest, but coolest jobs out there. So I love it. And one of the, I guess, gifts that I have as the archetype of the sacred teachers, I take vast amounts of information and I make it practical. And there's information that I take in that sometimes doesn't work for me. And so then I just toss it. But the stuff that I love, that I know works, I will share about that shit until the cows come home, till I'm blue in the face, because you just never know when something will land for you in a way that it has never landed before. And so, yeah, I had an experience this summer that I was listening to yet again another mentor in a workshop, and she said, the way already exists. The way to what you want already exists. The thing you want already exists too. And like, I've heard that before, but this time I heard it on such a different level. And, you know, the whole idea of sacred fame is to be seen, known, and paid for being yourself. And I realized on a deeper level that in order to do that out there in the world, you first have to see and know yourself. That is my recommitment to this podcast, my recommitment to the energy and the words that I share out there in the world. All the content I share is, I want you to own your value, right? I want you to see yourself as worthy, as whole, as enough, as divine. I want you to not just like know that up here. I want you to know that down to your bones, every cell in your body. I want you to remember that. So it's not about perfection. It's not about, you know, pretending to be something you're not, or having to perform in some way, this whole sacred fame thing. It's about seeing yourself more aptly, more fully, more clearly than you've ever seen yourself before, being more of yourself, more present, more of your essence in the body that you are, embodying it. And so that then doing the things that you want to do. I'm certainly not perfect at that. Don't even pretend to be perfect at that. I'm afraid sometimes, a lot. I freak out a lot. I still have pain and shame and shit like that I'm working on, right? But it's not about not having that stuff. It's not that level of that crap or the pain or the shame that defines you. It's not. It's what you're willing to do about it. We've all had stuff in life, because let's face it, like the bottom line is life isn't fair. It's not easy, right? There's joyful moments, and then there's like all the shit that can be so hard. But that shit doesn't have to define us. It's what we're willing to do about it that defines us, because the shit's not your fault. Obviously, we co-create certain things, you know, at whatever level, but taking responsibility for that contribution that we do have control over, that's what it's all about, right? Life can cause us to forget so deeply who we are. And then any moment, any effort, any energy that we spend remembering who we are, it pays back tenfold, millionfold, infinitefold. And so that's why I'm here. That's why I've recommitted to this podcast, because when you stop worrying about what others think of you, and you start seeing yourself for who you truly are, and you own that shit and why you're here, all the other things just kind of fall into place, because not everybody's going to like you or love you or respect you or listen to you. I know for me, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm okay with that now. I swear I'm feisty. Like sometimes I can't find the words. I fumble around. Sometimes I feel like language is even limited to what I want to say. It is what it is, right? We all do our best. And as long as we keep showing up from that place of knowing ourselves and seeing ourselves, then the words, the energy that we're sending out there lands with the right people. And that's what it's all about, to anchor more light, to help others, to make impact, but not just for others, right? Service, not from a place of servitude, but from a place of including yourself in that service, serving yourself too. And don't worry, you're not going to turn into a selfish ass. You're not, because seeing yourself means your cup is full. You experience more joy. You are present in your own life. You're happier more often. You remember more often who you are. And that means you give that to others as well. So I'm so happy to be back with you. Thank you for joining me, whether you're on YouTube or Spotify or iTunes or any of the other platforms that you can listen to a podcast on. Thank you so much. If you have suggestions or questions for me around topics that you'd like me to cover, definitely let me know. Reach out. You can find me on all the social media. Well, not all of them. Facebook, Instagram, kind of playing around with TikTok, YouTube, of course. And if you're not on my email list, I invite you to join. I connect with you via email once a week, and that's where I send out some of my greatest soul wisdom. And I do believe this, that email is one of the last intimate, quiet spaces on the internet. And that's where I love to connect with my people. So I would love to invite you into that circle. Welcome back to season 3. I will see you again very soon.